Hey, gotten some emails since I did the reaction with the hubby over Tom MacDonald's White Trash song. The biggest question is, why did you do such a humorous response to such a serious topic? I did a humorous response because it is such a serious topic. It is a topic that is so serious that it will be processed, chewed up, swallowed, regurgitated, chewed again, and cast upon anyone and everyone that listens to the song. If you go through a lot of the reaction channels, you can already see it. You can see people that have no idea of the demographic that the song is speaking about having huge viewpoints and perspectives on the demographic that the song is speaking about. But their perspective or their opinion is based solely upon the song. Now, for me, I think you should have an opinion based in education. And so for me, the only way that I could talk about the song in a humorous way is to speak about it in relation to myself, which I do fall into the category that is the target audience of the song. I am Appalachian white trash. I am the poor white lady that lives an hour and a half from anywhere, that had to struggle for any education and any job and any sense of pride in myself and pride in my community, because the vast majority of society believed lies about where I come from and the people that I come from. And it's really easy to believe lies when you have no working knowledge or no glimpse of what makes up a societal group. If you've not done your homework, then you're basically just regurgitating somebody else's thought pattern. I'm not really into that. I like to think about things. Now, I love Tom MacDonald. I think Tom MacDonald is probably one of the most thought-provoking lyricists in the rap game today. I think that he brings out a lot of topics that need to be talked about. There needs to be communication. But I also am very aware that by doing this and by bringing these ideologies and these thought patterns that he has forward, he's allowing other people to adopt them and run with them without really the understanding of what passing on that baton really means to the people that are being spoken about in that specific song. Those songs are basically little snapshots of cultures and societies that live within the bigger culture and society that feel misrepresented, misunderstood, or disrespected. So to touch upon them, you have to be super careful. Now, Tom is one of my favorites. I'm not knocking Tom, but I'm going to speak about something that a lot of people do. A lot of people really like to feel fulfilled. And, it's one of the most horrible things to not feel fulfilled. But one of the biggest things that's happening today in the United States in our culture is that we like to put people in boxes. We like to label them, much like Tom's songs say. And in order to talk about the labeling of the boxes, Tom has to talk about the labeling of the boxes. It's kind of a catch-22. But then the people that want to talk about these things, it just furthers those boxes and labels, because the people that aren't doing their homework and they're not looking into what they're discussing, all they're doing is identifying that group. They're not seeking to create an understanding. Identification is a one-way street. Understanding is a two-way street. There is no growth on a one-way street. We've got to have two-way streets. So I chose to do a humorous review because to sit down and talk about the psychology behind the song would have just been one voice in a million that are reaching no one. And to be quite honest, I was more about pointing out, hey, I'm actually this person he's talking about my life. I'm going to say that's not accurate in my life. That's not accurate in the demographic that he's speaking of that I live within. This is how we perceive that. I thought those little hints of just daily humor and knowledge would be a little bit more impactful than trying to sit down and have this talk. But hey, we'll have this talk if y'all want to. We will have this talk. So a lot of people wake up and they want to change the world. And I think Tom is one of those people. And I think Tom has dealt with his inner demons and he is ready to change the world. He has processed the darkness within himself, the confusion, the chaos within himself, so he can step outside of himself, identify it elsewhere, and say, hey, I'm gonna fight that monster. And that's great. But for the people that listen to him that have not dealt with themselves, it's, you're useless to society until you acknowledge the harm that you can do above the positive that you can do. And I say that because in today's society, we have a lot of people that want to identify malevolence within society, identify people they believe are harmful or neglectful or abusive or bad. And they really want to identify those people and put a label on them and point a finger, and you better shape up. But we never see them do any of the internalization of what do I need to do to make sure that I'm not having somebody's finger cast upon me for a similar thing. No matter how good you lead your life, no matter how many rules you try to follow, you do have a darkness within you that is capable of harming others and harming the society and demographic in which you reside. And until you identify that, you're not going to go anywhere. So, I think Tom is prepared to change the world. I think he's dealing with crap. But if you aren't there yet, you're just buying his ideologies. And you're just playing these identity games. And you're just regurgitating information that gets misconstrued and swept up and turned into these massive finger-pointing arguments. But we're not changing, we're not growing, we're not moving forward. And if you push these types of games on others without doing the work on yourself, you are the problem. You are the problem. When I look at people doing these things, I often say, what have I done that could be seen as similar? How do I need to change my approach? What do I need to learn about myself before I can point my finger and say, you need to work on that? I need to represent all that I'm asking you to do. I need to hold myself accountable to the same rules. We all want to be a hero in life. We all want to be a hero. But you have to understand that in society, in this society in general, we live right atop a thin line of chaos. And at any moment, we can fall into that chaos. And there are 3 ways that people handle that chaos and the knowledge of that chaos. They either ignore it, they work to educate others about it, or they cash in on the chaos. Those are the 3 types of people we have in our society right now. And I think Tom wants to work to educate more than he wants to cash in. So I don't have a problem with Tom. I have a problem with a lot of other people that generate a persona or a lifestyle to look as though they are eco-environmentally, socially friendly, yet the only work they've actually done is to set up a background, adapt a character persona, and then identify everything and everyone else that they want to change. That's not real work. And I think I see a lot of that when Tom talks about these important things. So you either play predator because of the chaos, you either go after the chaos as a predator and you want to remove this chaos, or you look at society and say, hey, y'all are going to be the prey and I'm not going to be the prey, and I'm going to learn how to master this chaos. People that like to master that chaos do not genuinely care about the other people that they're putting in harm's way. 98% of society today. And a lot of people that do that on purpose don't understand that they do it on purpose. And then they watch these thought-provoking musicians and lyricists and writers bring forth these huge things to discuss. And they go, I'm woke. They don't even understand that they're a part of the problem. That you're just perpetuating, this, I'm trying to profile, but I'm not trying to behave. I want you to see that I'm this great person, but I don't really care if I am, but I care if you are, because I want the world to change, but by golly, I ain't going to change it. That's too much work. So I want people to start looking at that and say, something, if you're going to choose to battle the monster, do it so that you can improve society and reduce harm on others, and so that we can create communication and a dialogue that's going to improve society. Don't do it to improve your own little bubble, your own little 10 by 10 room where you hide from the chaos and the darkness and the society that is out there, but you don't want to believe. Don't go into the world with your blinders on. And when somebody writes a thought-provoking song and they say, hey, I'm talking about this demographic, don't swallow all of it. Take it apart. I love Tom. There's a lot within that song that is seriously just typecasting, further typecasting the people that maybe he feels part of. But there's even smaller sects within that typecast demographic that are going, I don't think you're really speaking for me. And it's completely okay to say that, because that generates more of a dialogue, more communication. And there's a lot of times in that song I just did not feel that Tom was speaking for me, and that's okay. I know that I am super bumpkin. It's okay. I understand that I don't fit easily into a box. I get that. I am a conundrum. I discombobulate people. It's okay. But I also sit here and think about my words, the impact they'll have, and if I'm doing more positive than negative and putting it out into society. And with that song, unless I wanted to break it down and really tell you at some points how I did not agree with it, I chose to just look at the humor and say, in my simplistic form, this is what I saw, so that maybe you all would look at it more simply too.